and then my coffee cup on it, and then adjusted the phone and just all. I'm like, fuck, man. But we
days like that, right?
I'm gonna clean myself up, make myself look presentable.
Right.
How are you?
Doing good, man. Doing really good.
Yeah,
Busy.
it's been a while.
Yeah, it's a good time of the year for us. Kind of, we're mellow for a few weeks, and then we just get to grinding for the spring. So.
Yeah, right. Because you guys not. I mean, I've been there during the winter, right? That was when I'm trying to remember when we came by there.
You were here for Mama Tried, I think.
Yeah, right. The first time I went out, I think it's because I had to deliver a bike to Suburban Harley, and then we came and visited you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then and you were showing me you guys have massive amounts of bike storage there.
Yep. Yeah. Just under 780 this year. So.
Wow, that's a lot.
It's a grind all winter for sure. Yeah. There's really not much off time. If a week or two that we kind of hit a lull, but usually about that time everybody takes a couple of days off, or we're going through the holidays, and then we're right back at it, getting ready for spring.
What's your summers like there? I mean, is it summers? Would winter be your peak time and summers your slow time, or how does that work?
It doesn't necessarily peak. I think it peaks in about October, November when we take all those bikes in.
Gotcha.
And then April, May is chaos, getting everything out. People that have their bikes in their house coming in for service work to get ready for the season.
Yeah.
And then, we're off to the races pretty much first half of the year. Because July is crazy now with homecoming being ahead of Sturgis, where we used to be a couple months after. So we used to have our Milwaukee rally during Labor Day weekend. So we would basically wrap the season up with our rally and then kind of roll right into winter. Now we're, kind of ahead of the Sturgis rush. So it makes May and June that much more busy for us than kind of people that wait until the end of June, beginning of July to get ready for Sturgis.
Gotcha. Wow. Yeah. And when did they move? When did they move the homecoming dates? Is that?
They did that for the 120th anniversary.
Oh, so it's been a few years now.
Yes.
I've never been out for that. So for some reason, in my head, it's in September for some reason.
Yeah, so 120th, they moved it 2 weeks before Sturgis. So we had kind of a little bit of a break. Vendors had a little bit of time to recover and make their way out to Sturgis. And then last year, because of the Republican National Convention, which was held in Milwaukee, it bumped it right up to the weekend before. So we were kind of in this, is it going to be busy because people are going to come here, or is it going to be not busy because they're going to go to Sturgis? And what we really found was everybody from the East Coast and South and Canada came to us on their way out. So it was basically like a stopping point mid-trip. And it did. Yeah, it was. It was a really pleasant surprise. You kind of try and figure out how many people you need, how many bodies you need according to traffic. And Harley did a great job the last 2 years putting big names for music on stages to draw
got some good bands playing this year too, don't they?
Yeah, Hank Williams Jr. and Chris Stapleton are their other two headliners. Yeah, Buck Cherry playing at the museum. So
there we go.
That'll get people turned up or something like that.
They're gonna have some bedazzled pants, my man.
Yeah, dude, it's Dad Rock Central.
Yep. That'd be fun no matter what, though. I tell you, a couple of years ago, we did an event in Pennsylvania at this amphitheater, and Lynyrd Skynyrd was playing. And I mean, not that I'm not a fan of Lynyrd Skynyrd, I just didn't really. It wasn't on my list to see. You know what I mean? So I could care less. And then when they were playing, and I was there, I was like, I'm so stoked I got to see him now. You know what I mean? It was that good.
Sure. Yeah,
so
like you said, you're not going out of your way to see them.
Yeah.
So to see them and have a good experience, it pays off for sure.
Yeah, it was really cool, and it was like they did Freebird, the encore song or whatever. And the way they did it was so amazing. Like the guy, because the lead singer now is the brother of the lead singer who had died in the plane crash.
Okay.
Right. And so he came out. I think he started the song and he hung his hat on the microphone. And then in the background, this giant projector screen came on. It was black and white, and it was the original singer singing. and it
Oh,
was
that's
like
cool.
his voice and everything, and it was like it was heavy. You could
Yeah, yeah,
feel it. I was
yeah.
like, okay, that was fucking cool, man.
Goosebumps and everything's chills. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
not
that's awesome
definitely not what I was expecting. I was
for
just like,
sure.
yeah, whatever. Leonard, yay, Leonard Skinner, and I was like, all right, that was fucking cool. So I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's something I think Harley has hit on too is how important music is on a festival like that.
Yeah,
How
yeah,
important music can be to bring a different crowd in that maybe wouldn't normally come to Milwaukee,
yeah,
or go to a specific rally. I mean, you look at Buffalo Chip and uh, Full Throttle out in Sturgis. Half of their purpose is really music entertainment, and
yep, for sure.
the bars are secondary for the most part. So
Yeah, well, music brings booze.
right, yeah, consumption, and that
Yeah,
that makes spending a little bit easier. So it
exactly. You got to get that
encourages the
vibe going, man.
right, right. Yeah, and that's one of the things we do too here is events during the winter. It's keeping
Yep.
people. Somebody at one point said keeping people smelling the ether and the gasoline.
Yeah.
Everybody around here has some kind of winter activity: skiing, snowmobiling,
Yep.
whatever. So if we can keep some kind of a mindset on the motorcycles, and
Yeah.
it helps us stay busy. It helps us keep techs busy, keep our salesmen on the floor selling bikes,
Yep.
whatever it is to keep the doors open and keep metal moving. It's a big
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been. And have you guys felt the hit this last year? With everything, it kind of seems like everybody's just.
Yeah, last year wasn't service side. I mean, everybody's going to have a motorcycle that needs
Yep.
service. To
Yep.
the volume that it had been the previous 2-3 years. No, sales was definitely noticing a slight little tick down, but we're already kind of recovering in December and January. We saw triple sales numbers over year.
Good.
So yeah, I mean we 30 bikes out in January, which I mean I think we had 6 out last year in
Oh.
January. So
Yeah.
got a pretty new face sales team on the floor, but guys that have been in the industry. Damien used to be out at Black Hills, was down at Smoky Mountain. He's one of our co-sales managers, and a couple guys that really haven't sold motorcycles
Yeah.
in the past. They're coming from different industries, but it's the customer experiences more than anything. You don't feel like you're getting sold something you don't need, and
Yeah.
making sure all the answers are given to the questions that people have prior to diving into signing paperwork. That's
Yeah. Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
biggest thing. So yeah, we got some really great people on the sales floor. Sales numbers are reflecting that we're doing a pretty good job at least connecting with people. um, Lead generation is up, so we're getting people in the doors, we're getting people on the phones and on the internet coming in and selling
Yeah.
motorcycles, which is great. It helps the service business.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. I mean, you can't service motorcycles if you ain't got them.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's great to have 700 plus in storage, but you like doing new parts on new bikes too instead of just fixing old ones.
Yep, exactly, exactly. Yeah.
So
So they got the new 2025 models. I'm sure you guys got a bunch in stock now. I mean, is it true that they changed the hand controls on the Softail models?
yes, yep. So hand controls reflect almost like the CVO or the Nightsters and RevMax models. So you have with that ride modes in Softails, you've got a couple different controls and a couple different functions on the bike to enhance rider features.
Yeah.
We
So
haven't
is it the same?
obviously we haven't ridden them yet, but
Yeah.
but,
Is it the
but
so is the holes and everything the same as baggers then now? The new baggers?
what's that?
Is the holes in the handlebars the same as the new baggers then?
I believe so. Yeah, yeah. It's
That's kind of
gonna
what
be
I
the same
heard.
setup. Yeah,
I just haven't been
all
able to
the
verify.
yeah, because all the grips and all the grip fitment and everything like that is the same for touring and new Softail.
Yeah, 2025 and up.
Right.
Yeah, gotcha. Or there is no up, but
Right. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Present.
Huh. Interesting. I mean, that's normal, right? They make a change and then they try to reflect it down the line of products, so that way manufacturing they can just make one
Right.
setup instead of fucking multiple. So
I don't know. They like doing that too, though.
yeah, they've been
Or
really
producing something for a year or two and then changing
yeah.
it, like the '08 kind of bastard child touring models that were, half '09 and the other half 2007 and earlier. So yeah,
Yes.
they seem to like to do that, but obviously something's working and something's not working that they're making those changes, or
Yeah.
they've got
I feel
something
like
in
they've
mind.
been I feel like they've been kicking our ass the last few years as these soft tail models came out with just so many abrupt changes on certain
Mhm.
things. You know what I mean? Like, with these new touring bikes that came out and the handlebars and all these different holes and everything, and then now they're switching it to the soft tail models. It really just kind of like I've got our samples for the handlebars for those things, but it was like, well, there's 1.5 years of touring models for it. Do I need to actually manufacture them? And now I'm like,
Right.
fuck, now I got to do it.
Right.
Like, so they really kind of kicking our ass there.
Yeah, and we haven't seen. I think we've had maybe two new Softails in so far. Everything else has been touring. I don't know. We're kind of slow with getting new bikes because we're not in a riding market right now. So everything
Yeah.
mainly goes south. We had a good amount of carryover, so like 25 road glides, street glides, as soon as they released, and we've done some floor builds with custom wheels, bars, exhaust, a couple stage 2 like cam kits and stuff like that.
Yep.
But haven't seen many of the Softails yet. So hopefully soon we'll
Gotcha.
see something.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just happy that the ST has equal size bags now.
Yeah, yeah, and I don't hate the 2-in-1, and I really like that blue burst with chrome. I think that's going to be probably a
Yep.
hard bike to hold on to if you're in a dealership.
Yeah, 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 for
If
sure.
that's the one you're looking for, probably buy it if you get it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm getting ready to play with the Pan America. I haven't ridden one yet, and I got one headed
Okay.
my way.
Yeah,
So
we've got a good selection of used bikes. We probably have, what do we have, 4 or 5 employees that ride them
yeah,
pretty consistently, and as a main motorcycle, source of motorcycling. So,
yep,
uh, our lead rider academy instructor has about 35 or 40,000 miles on a one, and it's usually, if he's not instructing, he's up north ripping fire roads and
yeah,
getting things dirty and breaking stuff and figuring out what works and what doesn't. So,
yeah.
uh,
That's cool. I just wanted to play with something different.
yeah.
It's like I don't know. I just wanted to do something different. I was like, man, I ain't fucked with one of those and 150 horsepower.
Yeah, and I think the ST is pretty unique too, and it's stripped
Yeah,
down, more street
yeah,
based, and it should be a pretty cool bike to see people work a little bit with
yeah,
without having to strip all the off-road and adventure touring crap off of.
yeah,
Make
yeah,
it
yeah,
just
yeah.
an easier platform to work with and start with. So,
Yeah. I'm wondering the height difference. I know they said the ST is like a little lower,
mhm.
and I'm wondering. I mean, I've never. I think I've sat on one once, but I can't remember. It was a couple years ago, so I don't even know like how tall they actually are, like lean angle and all that stuff. But I am curious. I know they said they lowered the ST model. Like, and it's like what is that equal to? Is it like the same height as a Dyna now, or a soft tail? Because like the Pan America is substantially taller than a soft
For
tail.
sure. For sure. I think you lost maybe an inch and a half to 2 inches on the soft or on the ST seat, but
Yeah.
both still have that active ride suspension. So you're
Yeah.
still going to get that raised up as soon as you're moving, anyways. And then you can set all that stuff too in the ride settings, and customize
Gotcha.
your ride modes and stuff. So
Yeah.
again, cool features. I mean, which you should be able to see in the Softail models too now with customizable ride modes.
Oh, really? They're doing that same thing. They're doing that same kind of suspension on the Softail models.
Not the suspension, but the ride mode. So,
Oh, got you.
after,
Like the new
yeah,
baggers.
I believe all that stuff transferred over to the Softail. So I could be
Got
wrong.
you. And
But
are they? Yeah, I know you said you haven't seen many. I'm wondering, like, are they going to implement any kind of like? I mean, they got like the big fancy screen on the baggers. You know what I mean? Are they going to implement those into the Softails down the road, or are they
boy,
going to
that's.
like?
I think they
Just
went. They
curious.
went. I think they went. Well, the ST just has like the street bob,
Yep.
small little indicator gauge. Uh,
Yep.
I have to. Whoop, lost you.
Yeah, I don't know what happens there. My little same person always calls me at this time when we're doing this, even though my phone is like on sleep mode.
Oh,
You know, it's like I
it's
don't
an
know. I don't know how
interrupter.
to block my phone from getting phone calls, man.
Yeah, it makes it interesting, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
So
yeah, well, it's cool. I mean, it's going to be interesting. I'm excited to see the Pan America. The one I'm getting is a 22 right now, so It's
Okay.
I'm one of my friends. I don't want to mix Harley dealerships with you guys, but J&L Harley sending me out one to play
Oh,
with.
right on.
Yeah, Jimmy and Joe are good friends of mine, and it's Jimmy's personal Pan America. I'm like, hey, you ride that thing? He's like, no. I'm like, cool. I'll send Hall bike to get it. I want to play with it.
Yeah, we
So
always stop out there on the way out to Sturgis. My dad and I have ridden out there, I don't know, 3 or 4 of the last 5, 6 years. So
oh hell yeah,
usually stop there on the way out. It's a
yeah. They're
good
good,
it's a
good
good
family,
good
good
break
place,
point.
man. Yeah, we got a race coming up in Nebraska. You guys should ride out.
Okay.
Yeah, well, the
Date?
BRL race.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
We could do
Hastings,
that.
Nebraska. I don't know how far it is from you guys, but I think it's a decent ride.
Yeah, I think Nebraska. We stopped in Omaha, if that's anywhere near Omaha. It was about 12 hours on our way up to Denver. That was our halfway point. So
Yeah, yeah, perfect.
make it out there. Not a
Yeah,
good excuse to go for a ride, I
yeah,
guess.
yeah, yeah. I think it's the Memorial Weekend, so at least it'll be either you're working to make sales or you're gonna have a long weekend. So,
Right, right. I think a long weekend sounds good.
yeah, right, right, right. So what do you got? What are you working on now?
Oh, I dove into that project that
Oh
probably didn't
yeah.
need to be a project. Um, but I rode the bike last year, so I you saw the picture of how I purchased it, and
Yep.
I feel like it's owed some reparations for riding around with a bolt-on trike kit for I think it was like 4 or 5 years.
Oh,
Um,
poor girl.
yeah, exactly. So
Hey,
I got the bike
at least she was
in.
still being ridden though.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So I got the bike with, I think it was about 36,000 miles on it.
Oh,
And
nice.
yeah, my long story. So 2 years ago, I was trying to not be a aging, out of shape kid and decided that I needed to start playing basketball to work out and get in
Yep.
shape. And I mean, 3 weeks into playing basketball, ruptured my Achilles and went through surgery for all that. And
As
was
you're talking
sitting.
about being out of shape, I'm eating a
Yeah.
cracker.
Hey, it could be worse, right? It's not like, deep fried something.
Yeah,
um,
well, you don't know what I did before.
yeah, true story, right? So I was sitting in my physical therapist's office, and Ian, one of my coworkers, sends me this marketplace ad for this bike, and it's 20 minutes north of my parents' house, in the city at a dealership I used to work at.
Uh huh.
So I sent it to my dad. He's retired. I said, "Hey, hook up the trailer. Go get this thing. Pay cash exactly what he's asking. Don't lowball him. Just go get it." And he got up there and sent me the VIN. I was just to make sure it was an actual RT. And uh,
Yep.
long story short, came back, got it. I went up there 3 or 4 weeks later and stripped the trike kit off of it, rode it around the block, and brought it back down to Milwaukee here, and kind of just went to town on it. So I got it. The radio didn't work. Tires were old. Rocker boxes were leaking. There's just a
Yep.
bunch of maintenance stuff that needed to be done. And it's funny. I did all that work. Found that the front motor mount plate that mounts to the bottom of the engine and to the top of the rubber motor mount had actually
Uh-huh.
snapped in half,
Yep.
uh, probably because of the tri kit.
Yeah.
And put all that stuff back together, took it for the ride around the block, and was like, "All right, cool. I think we're dialed. Let's ride it home." I get home and the radio turns on. So it's like, does it feel like it was rescued? Is it
Yeah.
is it feeling better because of you know I put the work in and it feels in a safe space now? I don't know,
Right.
but
Right. Maybe Bumblebee's in that thing.
yeah, right. So um, yeah, rode it that first year. Put a couple thousand miles on it. It was I was back and forth in the surgery room for 2 more surgeries on my Achilles after it was fixed the
Ooh.
first time, and finally got that right and put a few miles on it to finish the year. And then that winter, a dealership up north, actually, Bull Falls up in Wausau, a dealership I um, used to work at, their GM had an '88 RT
Yep.
without the fairing, without the bags, nothing on it. The guy had crashed it at one point and just pulled all that stuff off and went back to just basically like a standard FXR. And they weren't going to do anything with it. It was a major project, and offered me a stupid amount of money, cheap, stupid amount of money for it. So I went up there and bought that one, brought it back. It actually has the I kind of stripped parts off of that bike to build this one.
Yep.
Chrome front end, chrome calipers.
Oh yeah.
And then had the chrome upper and lower belt guard.
Oh yeah, all the fancy stuff.
Yeah, so it was just the chrome is still in really good shape. So, and then chrome caliper on this side.
Is this your first FXR you've ever had?
Yes.
Yeah. So
yeah.
you already got the bug, man. You got the
bug.
bug.
Dude. It was not just a bug, but like
an addiction.
Yeah, very much so, to say the least. So
yeah.
So did the front end. That winter did Race Tech Gold Emulator kit and Speed Merchant preload adjusters in the front.
Yep.
LA Choppers, Cage Fighter T-bars, just because it wasn't comfortable the way it was. And that anti-dive system that is stock on there was wires were cut and it wasn't hooked up, wasn't working. So swapped that out, kept it in as plain and simple as I could. And then Fox shocks in the rear when I did the fronts, just to keep everything balanced, because I definitely picked up a little bit of height going to that that kit in the front. So
yeah.
And then rode it to Sturgis this year with like I said, my dad. I think we rode from here to Valentine, Nebraska on Wednesday, and then Thursday through the 116 degree sweltering heat, got all the way to Sturgis and enjoyed ourselves for 3-4 days, and then rode all the way back problem free. It was, the bike doesn't owe me anything. We made it out there, and I even told him, I was like, if this thing blows up while we're here or on the way back, I'm still happiest man alive. So it was a great trip. Got home and kind of just thought about it, and it was really just one of those things where I want to keep riding this bike in that type of fashion. I've got my Road Glide. That's kind of my, if I want to go hot rod and get out and get spicy with things, like hop on that bike. Or, if my wife and I want to go for a weekend trip, that's the bike we're going to take.
Yeah.
But this thing is just, it's
style for miles, man.
Yeah, exactly. This is the bike I want to go hop on and take a 2-3 week trip if I have that opportunity, and make sure it's just reliable. So the motor came out only because I really just wanted to clean everything up, and I'll hop back over there. It wasn't really burning oil. It wasn't consuming a ton of oil, but it's just kind of got that aged, beat up kind of stuff to it. So the crank is just a touch over 4 thou out.
Oh, so forget about it.
Yeah, right. So it's apart. I might as well, I've got Dark Horse immediately 40 minutes away. So Andrew and Brian and John take great care of us with all the service work that we send them. So I'm going to take the flywheels out, or crank out, take it up to them, have them just if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it right. Have those take care of the crank, get it, to 0 and dialed, and then take the heads and cylinders up to Revolution Performance, have them go through the heads and just kind of recode everything, because this is, there's not much factory coding left. So that's the goal. The cam isn't in great shape. One of the lifter areas is kind of, let's see if you can see that or not, but that front lobe is pretty starting to wear out, and the cam bearing area's got a little bit of gouges to it. So just I've got an EV27 from a coworker who started this build kind of in a similar fashion. He was going to build a nice bike and ended up going frame off. Powder coat.
Happens quick,
custom paint. SNS 111, I think, is what he put in his. And so he's got all those little parts that was going to go in his bike, and now he's, he went full tilt, so he's got some spare stuff. So hooking me up with that, and then BAM fabrication redid my fuel tank and the outer lids. So I'm just kind of keeping those clean and off the bike until it's time to go back together.
Yeah.
And part of the reason that they came off is we got out to Sturgis and my left side bag lock froze, so I couldn't get in the bag. So had to basically take a knife and just cut the rubber latch off the bottom and
Oh no.
some zip ties. So if you get in that situation, you can just cut the strap right there and then tie the front or the inner and outer shell together, and it got me by for the rest of the trip.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so but I mean, it's grimy, it's built up, and I'm kind of actually glad I did it because there's some weather cracking in the belt, so that would have been something that had I not gotten to this point wouldn't have noticed, and I would have been on the side of the road in the middle of nowhere with a broken belt. So it's just kind of stuff like that, and we'll get it back together here right in time for riding season. I think both of those guys told me it would be 3 to 4 weeks. So get that stuff up here by the end of the month. And, this weekend in Mama Tried, speaking, we touched on it a little bit earlier the last time you were here, but that event kind of kickstarts, pun intended, the motorcycle aura in the city. It really does. So we've been the last 2 weeks of, single digit and negative single digit highs with 20 below wind chills. So people get cooped up. Yeah. No, it's great. It's awesome. We enjoy it.
Yeah.
I don't know why we do it
right now, man.
Yeah,
I don't.
it's terrible. But, people are cooped up for 3-4 weeks and they're ready to get out. And all it takes is a 30-degree weekend with some motorcycles, and really, really jumpstarts everybody around here getting back into bikes. So
yeah, that's cool.
We'll get that going, and the road glide is really just it's kind of there ready to go. I'm waiting on an exhaust to come back and just some little maintenance on that one, and we'll ride.
Let's check out the road glide. Let's see the road glide. Let's look at her.
So
I like looking at all of them.
Yeah, yeah. It's a real conundrum of which bike to ride, but I'm lucky and not lucky that I can't put both of them and a car in the garage. So one stays here and one I ride one back and forth to work, and usually, I'll switch off if I decide I need to do something different. But yeah, 19 Road Glide. It's been through basically a change every year. I do something different. Last winter, it was the inverted front end from A Plus Cycle and Andreas at Geezer Glide. So that's their inverted setup.
Gotcha.
I loved the ST CVO rotors. So I actually made those fit, and we have a customer of ours that's a machinist that made me the custom spacers for the calipers. The brake lines are a project this winter. I need to redo those. I don't really love how those are, but like you said, rigid adapt lights.
Is it the clean moto kit?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, those guys are homies. We put a lot of miles on together. So
they're good people, man. I like those guys.
Got to support Kyron and Justin.
Yep.
And then 131 with some goodies inside, roller rockers, and SNS 550 cam. So it's 540 cam. So it makes monster loaded torque from 2,500 to 5,500, and then that's where she's making all the power.
It's wigging me out because you're using your front-facing camera to look at it. So
the
bike's like mirrored, and I'm like, "What are we looking at?"
Then let's do this. Hey,
there we go. I'm like, "Why is everything on the wrong side of this bike? What is it, European?"
It's just Wisconsin. We do things different here.
Too many damn cheese curds, man.
Right, exactly. So you know what? We're 3 blocks from Culver's, so they fire up their grills during the day, and all we smell is cheeseburgers and fried food. So,
oh god!
But
I actually get fatter just talking about it.
Yeah, right. I know it's cholesterol. Blood pressure's going up and heart rate's slowing down. But boosted Brad mid controls, kind of some touches of raw finished aluminum. Obviously, Justin's beautiful swing arm from my machinist. Really. And originally I was going to get these wheels. Those are Jade affiliateds. and Cruzy Skynet wheels. I was going to get
Yep.
them done in contrast, and had some issues with powder coating and finishing, so I just did them black. And I still, every winter comes around, and I almost want to blast them back to raw and,
Yeah,
and see
yeah.
kind of what they would look like with, touches of unfinished metal in there. But I did just, so you can see behind the boosted brad mids, this is the Vance and Hines new cam cover.
Yep.
It's a venting cam cover with a um, it basically separates oil and air pressure and comes out of this tube. So I've got to run the vent hose up and away. But they developed that with their King of the Baggers bikes, and
Yep.
basically eliminated the head breathers and the need for the head breathers.
Huh.
You're not getting all that crank pressure trying to vent it through the Trask cam plate or through the primary vent, which I had both of, and still had issues with speckling my saddlebags with oil. So Rodney, a good friend of mine, good dude in the industry, decided he came up for an event. We had a kind of a performance workshop with a bunch of people. He came up and told me about it, and I was like, well, screw it, I'll give it a shot, see what happens. So interested to see what that does.
Yeah. And what size motor's in this bike?
It's 131.
Okay. And is it a Harley 131?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so it started, obviously it was a 114 as it started, rode it for a year, and kind of had an agreement with my wife that it would stay stock for a year, which it barely made it, probably 3-4 months. And I think I had a couple different sets of handlebars on it and some slip-ons that we had laying around in the shop.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
nothing major. So the winter came.
Like out here when they say like California sober means like you can still smoke weed.
Yeah.
That's like we'll call that Wisconsin stock, where you're still changing bars and exhaust systems, but it's got
Harley
a stock
stock.
engine.
It's Harley stock.
Yeah.
Yeah, try and tell a dealership guy to keep a bike stock. Great idea.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. But
No, never.
So I rode it in that configuration for the first year. That winter, put the S&S 475 cam in it. Loved it. Had no problems. And then the following winter, I really didn't modify much. Maybe I did a Bassani 2-in-1 and some Legend suspension, front and back. And on the ride home, like the second ride of the year, it sumped really bad. Got it back here because I was riding home. Told it, had one of the guys from the shop pick me up, bring it back to the shop, and drained all the oil out of it. Pulled the cam cover, and the piston jet had basically, the tip had came off, which I have no idea how that happened. It went through the cam compartment and just tore the whole shit up.
Oh wow.
Yeah, well, so in all of that happening, I had actually won a Pro Charge Dyna FXDX.
Oh, like a raffle?
Yes.
Gotcha.
So if you've seen the Cut Rates FXDX,
Yep.
I sold him that bike to pay for that motor.
Perfect.
Yeah, so it unfortunately worked out.
Yeah.
That I was able to do that, but rode with that 131 for again a year, and then decided to up the ante a little bit and put that 540 cam in, roller rockers and valve springs, and been torturing this thing since. I think it just, before I put it away, I think it clicked over 50,000. So
Oh wow.
yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's
Yeah, I never thought I'd be a bagger person ever.
Sure.
And when I finally got one and put one together, I mean, they're fucking great bikes, man.
Yeah, and I guess the thing, the performance bagger or whatever you want to call it, I look at this thing like kind of like a pro touring car. It's
Yep.
modified to just, it can cruise, but it can also get down and
Yeah, it can eat.
enjoy itself. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And you can do so for 8 to 10 hours if you want to.
All day. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good time.
I rode mine to Sturgis twice from California, and it was just nothing but fucking smiles for miles, dude.
Yeah.
It just I miss that bagger, but it's some, you don't get to keep them all,
right?
You know.
Yeah, I'm married to that one. Well, probably married to both of these now with the amount of money I have in that one, and Just
Yeah.
the fact that I'm never gonna have a bike like that. That
Yeah,
RT
I would
again.
never
So,
get rid of that RFX RT
yeah,
ever, ever.
yeah,
Not
and
even as a fire.
it's funny seeing Lance from Thrash and Supply pick up that one that he just
Yep.
got. Uh,
Yep.
Hopefully, I messaged him right away. I was like, "Hey, we got to meet up in Sturgis. If you ride that thing to Sturgis, we'll snag some pictures and stuff." So that
Yeah.
in probably the biggest thing with Sturgis and kind of FXRs is two years ago or 3 years ago when we were out there. I went to the FXR Dynamixer, and it was like you get a sense of that culture
Oh yeah.
and how unique that group is, and it's not the performance bagger scene where
Yep.
everybody's trying to outdo the next person and all that stuff. It's really
Yep.
everybody's there to help everybody, and it's really cool to see. And now it's awesome to be part of because you have something in common right away, and you really get it. That bike has so much soul.
Yep.
Just riding it down the street, it's not going to go 100 miles an hour. It barely will get to 85 if I'm
Yeah.
lucky,
Yeah.
maybe with some wind behind me. But
Yeah.
just yeah, it's a different feeling. It's a lot of fun, and like I said, that bike doesn't owe me anything. It's just putting smiles on my face. That's all it's doing for me. So
Oh yeah.
good
Yeah,
deal.
they are. The FXRs, man. They're. I mean, I have a couple. Well, I have one that's actually a rideable bike, and then I have two other like projects.
Okay,
I'm not heavy into the FXR thing,
sure.
but everything's been leading me more towards it for some reason. You know what I mean? And it's funny because I feel like every episode of What's on Your Lift that I've done is with somebody with an FXR, and it's not intentional at
Right,
all.
right.
Just ends up that way. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah. It makes
And
sense.
but in that same sense, though, it's also given me like a very big overview, high level overview of the whole FXR community and scene that I already knew existed, but it's just made it even more of a of a thing where it's like this is, and I've said it many times, like the FXR community is something special.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? It is
Yeah,
unlike
it's
anything else in the motorcycle in the Harley industry that we all do.
for sure.
You
And
know?
it, one of our customers and a good friend of mine, Nick, he's got a gorgeous bike, and kind of you understood that after I picked that bike up, and he started just like diving into everything. Ended up actually giving me one of Nick Enzo's bizarre books of FXR,
Hell
and
yeah.
I think I read that thing 3 or 4 times before uh, I did anything else. So that
Yeah.
was cool. It's that type of stuff that's really neat. It's fun to be in that group, and
Yeah.
um, unfortunately, in another reason that I'm kind of doing this is I'm hoping to do Triple Crown, but our rally is the same weekend as the West Coast Jam, so I've got to
Oh,
figure out how I can either finagle getting out of work for the rally, which probably will never
just tell them
happen.
you got
But
diarrhea, man.
yeah, yeah,
You know, fuck
yeah.
it.
Shit, shit straight for 64 hours, and all of a sudden had
Yeah.
another three
Yeah,
years,
I'm
six
back and
thousand
I'm
miles on my
sunburned.
bike. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I can't explain it. It was
No,
so bad. I had to. She told me I had to shit outside or something.
yeah, yeah. She kicked me out. I was in the backyard all weekend.
But I mean that too. Being in Sturgis and going to that mixer and where those people are getting awarded for the Triple Crown stuff is just that's awesome. I mean,
Oh
this year
yeah.
was a first woman to do the Triple Crown, first, and she was actually first husband and wife that did the Triple Crown
Oh, that's
together.
cool.
And you just those stories are so cool because you know that there's people out there that are going to help you out if you get in a jam.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
there's a huge support group out there, and it's quiet. I mean, if you're not in it, you really probably don't know about it. But
Yep.
yeah, it's super cool. All you got to do is start talking about it or following somebody that's into it, and it really takes off quick. And
Yeah.
it's kind of in a way like the dealership world. We're all going through the same shit, maybe in a little bit of different city, different vibe, different customer base, but it kind of does the same thing. Everybody knows the daily struggles, I guess, of what
Yeah.
you're dealing
Right.
with. So
Exactly.
it's relatable.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of anything that any people get awarded for riding their motorcycle. So I'm a big fan of the FXR tour. I love the way they're doing it. It's very cool to see people building bikes and then having to ride them. You
Yeah,
know what I
for
mean?
sure.
So it's
And
Joe
that's where.
Joe Melky up there at the Buffalo Chip does a great job at that event as well. You
Mhm.
know, I got to go to it. The first time I went to Sturgis was 2021, I think, and I was a judge of it in that year. and I've been invited back every year, but I don't get to go every year. And last
Right.
year when I went to Sturgis, I went the weekend after it happened. So,
Okay.
but he does a killer job, man, and it's such a cool event. And you're gonna, it is again something special to see all those bikes from all over the place just kind of come to that one spot. You know what I
For
mean?
sure.
It's
Yeah, it's almost to the point where you need to find a different spot for it because it's so crowded in there.
yeah,
But what a great problem to have, you know,
yeah, right,
that many
right,
people show up year after year to have that show and be able to put it on the way they do.
yeah,
Actually, I won a twin cam conversion kit from Ramjet. And
yep,
right away, everyone's you're not going to swap that, are you? I was like, nah, I can't do that. So,
uh,
and that
yeah,
was actually, thinking about it now, I probably could have kept that 88 that I had, but ended up, selling it to my buddy that works here, and he kept it for a year and moved on. But you just wonder, But
oh yeah,
I'm
oh
I'm
yeah.
not I'm not a fabricator. I'm not even going to pretend this is I'm a
Hey,
dealership guy, and
YouTube, buddy, everybody can
yeah,
learn.
yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah,
half
for
my
sure,
life I learned off YouTube. You know, like
yeah,
it's funny because like all my friends I know, people are always like, "Oh, you go watch this on YouTube," and I go, "I don't watch nothing on YouTube unless it's me learning something.
yeah,
Like I
for
don't use
sure,
it for entertainment purposes. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Like I don't watch TV shows or different things that everybody else watches. If I'm on there, I'm like looking up how to learn how to do something. You know.
yeah, yeah, for
Otherwise,
sure.
I'll just watch the television. you
Yeah,
know.
it can be such a wormhole too, and you can
Oh, I'm
get so
sure.
deep into things. But yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I'm
Yeah.
hoping um, I'll probably eventually have a new project. Hope to keep those two, and
Yeah.
she told me I can't get rid of this thing until I've got 100,000 miles on it. Well, I'm halfway there, so we'll see.
There you
We'll see
go.
what's next. But it's hard to think about getting rid of that bike. That's my first brand new Harley, so
Yeah.
it's got some good memories and stuff. What unfortunately I yeeted myself off of it 2 years ago, but
Yep.
um,
Yep. Yep. I remember that.
it's yeah, it's back and running and it's treating me well, so can't complain.
Yeah. Hey, that's their job, right? They
Yeah,
either
for sure.
they're like bucking Broncos.
Yeah, yeah, that one it sent me for sure. So it
Yeah.
was interesting, but
Yeah. Well, between playing basketball and riding motorcycles, you got to watch your fucking medical insurance.
yeah. Hey, she works for the state, so she's got great insurance. It
Oh, you
hasn't
might
really
want to adopt
cost us
me.
too much. Yeah, haven't had to sell any extra limbs or anything like that to pay for everything. But
Yeah.
thankfully, and she
Yeah.
put up with me for Christ 8 and 10 months in a boot between my motorcycle accident and the Achilles stuff. So she's a saint. She puts up
Yeah.
with a whole lot of it.
Yep.
Whatever.
Yep. Don't let her go.
No, definitely not. She's probably watching this saying, "Yeah, you're an idiot," but
Yeah.
whatever.
And we're all. That's why we do what we do. We're all idiots.
Yeah, exactly.
They
She didn't
wouldn't
marry
have
the
it any other
smartest man in
way.
the world.
You
Right.
know,
Right.
it's better that they're smarter than us.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, let us do the dumb
Financially
shit.
and yeah, for sure. But it's a good time. And unfortunately, we haven't gotten out and riding in the past couple of years like we used to. Usually, we would have our rally Labor Day weekend, and my parents, her and I, would jump on our bikes and go ride for 3 4 days. And unfortunately, we haven't taken that trip in a couple of years. But hopefully, we'll do that again. Get back into
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. I just
It's
say my
nice to be
wife
able to
hasn't
share it.
ridden. She hasn't ridden in like probably 2 or 3 years now. She used to do a lot of riding, and she rides her own bike, and she kind of just I don't know, lost interest a little bit. You know what I
Sure.
mean? And I built that FXR for her. I don't think she ever really cared for it that much.
Hmm.
And I kind of pushed her Sportster to the side. So I told her I'm going to get your Sportster back going again. I'm going to go through it all and kind of get it rocking and rolling again, and we'll see if she gets back on it or not. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
it's I don't know. I mean, I've been in a weird mental spot like riding motorcycles in California. It's getting fucking annoying with all the traffic and Teslas,
Sure.
and like it's just like, come on, and but I like to ride motorcycles in California to like the border and cross over the border
Sure.
to a
Out
different
of
state,
California. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, get the fuck out of here,
One way. Yeah, for sure.
that's the best, like I think I'm gonna do Sturgis this year on the Pan America, and I'm already excited, like I
Oh
can't
yeah.
wait. I always leave at night because it's like it beat the Las Vegas heat, but I'm like already thinking about it, like, oh, I can't wait, like 8 p.m. Get on the bike and just fucking start jamming to Vegas, It's like I think I got two buddies that are gonna go and just a nice little tight little group, and
Yeah.
just fucking have some fun, man.
Yeah, it's one thing to get out with a good group of people, but if you got 2 or 3 solid dudes that you can just put miles down with,
Yep.
no complaining, when you get to the stop, it's gas, piss, grab a snack, and let's go. Like,
Yep.
that's
Yep.
that's the jam, man, when it
Oh,
comes to
it's
riding like that. Um,
long trips. I've never done it with a bigger group. Well, of Sturgis, I've only done it twice now, and both times it was only me and one other dude.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
same. My dad and
Yeah.
I, or 2 years ago, or the last time we went, not last time, but the time prior, we spent 4 days in Colorado, and Sturgis
Oh,
was basically like a pop in, couple days, and we were heading back home. And man, Colorado is pretty rad. You
yeah.
can spend
Yeah.
some good days
Colorado's a
in
beautiful
Colorado.
place.
Yeah, and we didn't spend enough time. We basically just did a big loop through the state, and uh, ended up coming out through the top, through the north, through the Rocky Mountain National Park, and then
Yep.
up to Wyoming and ripped over to Sturgis. And yeah, it's a good time to get out in that area, explore
Yeah.
some new places, and you just meet, especially that time of year. There's motorcycles everywhere. There's people
Everywhere.
everywhere, and
Yep.
those stories are pretty dope to find out where people are riding from, where they're going to. You
Yep.
catch some really cool shit in the middle of nowhere on
100%.
so that's
Yeah.
that's a good time, and always looking forward to doing some more riding.
Yeah, spend some time in Wyoming, man. I'll tell you, there's some fun stuff in Wyoming, like back road shit. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
It's I've found if I'll send you a highway that I really like to ride. If you're ever gonna do like east to west,
Yeah.
it's we always because like even when we did Sturgis last year, 2 years ago, not this last year that just passed, the year before, like we were in Sturgis for one day and we were on the road for 7. And the rest of the time, we're
Really?
just riding motorcycles. Because, like,
Right.
not to be a dick, I don't really care about the rally that much. You know what I mean? Like,
Sure.
there's too many fucking people for me. Like, I'm not. I don't like that kind of stuff. I don't like riding. Like when you go into the Black Hills and you got guys that are so spread eagle on their bike, you can't even pass them.
Yeah.
I just get
And
so
they don't like that
frustrated.
either.
Yeah,
They get real pissed off.
yeah, yeah. I get frustrated. I'm just like, man, this isn't for me. I love
Right.
being out there in the off season, or
Yes.
but during the rally, it's just too many people for me.
Hmm.
I want to go see my friends, and then I just want to ride motorcycles.
Yeah,
My goal
for
for that
sure.
trip is to ride bikes,
Right.
not like,
And I mean, you got how many different ways that you can get there, and
oh yeah,
really crush some good miles in some awesome areas.
exactly. Like
We
when
go
we
straight west from through Minnesota, South Dakota, and
yeah,
you're there, and it's the most boring ride. But yeah,
try to get that through Florida.
yeah, 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 yeah. Florida and
Maybe or
Texas.
maybe go north, go through Canada, and drop back in.
It's not a bad idea. I got to get my passport renewed, but
Yep,
could do
yep.
that. I
There's
can
always a
legally
way,
get
man.
there. I just need to do the passport deal. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's we did 1 year. We shipped bikes out to Portland and rode from Portland to Sturgis. That was freaking awesome. The trip through Colorado, and actually, my dad and I, our riding really started with Hot Bike Tour. So we did the
Oh, nice.
first. We missed the first year, but did the next three. And the second year we went, it was from Spirit Lake, Iowa, to Sheridan, Wyoming, and
Oh, yeah.
everything blue Beartooth Pass, all the stuff through
Yeah.
there. Spent 2 days in like Rapid City area and did all the stuff that you do
Yep.
during the
Yep.
rally without
Yep.
the bullshit traffic. And yeah, that was a pretty rad trip. You get
There's talks of it coming back. I'm hearing it.
I
There's
hope so,
talks of
man.
it.
That was a really cool event. It was super low key, but
Yep.
the parties were cool. Getting to ride next to, have a really shitty GoPro video of Zach Ness rolling up next to me as they were ripping past the group led ride to get to the next city on a rad blue chopper that was
Yep.
super cool. And getting to ride with those people kind of mortalized,
Oh, yeah.
that are idol type figures when you're younger,
Yep.
and trying to get into the industry. So yeah, I hope they do. Jordan's been busting his ass with that magazine, and I'm glad to
Yeah.
see rise again. So hopefully
Yeah.
stuff like that, the events come back too, because it was, like I said, a great time.
Yeah. I never got to do it, but I remember it. I would love to do it. Again, I'm just a fan of riding motorcycles. So anything that we can do like that to have some fun and be with like minded individuals, I'm all about it.
Yeah, and remind people why we do it, you know?
Yep.
I
It's
I
easy to
love being
get.
in the industry, you know, but it part of the reason was because I like riding. It's not
Yeah.
because I like being, stuck in an office or in a dealership all day every day.
Yeah. And it's
Best
easy to
best
get
things that
cooped
we
up
do is
like
get
that
out of
too.
here. Yeah, best thing that we do is get out of here at the end of the day, go rip for an hour or two, grab something to eat, and we go home and come back and do it all over again the next day.
Yeah. Well, as my dear friend Otto says, he says the best thing you can ever have on your motorcycle is miles.
Yes,
You
absolutely.
know.
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely. Yeah, and
Yep.
that's
So.
that's what we're trying to do too is build a couple events over the course of the year that we do rides. In Milwaukee, you can probably get out of here in 10-15 minutes and get into some nice riding. I
Yep.
usually try and do a couple of rides, with the staff or friends on a Sunday. We go leave here, find somewhere to eat on a lake with everybody, and there's a bunch of really cool bars around here that are on water. That's everybody always asks me like, how do you figure out where you're going to ride? I said, I look for some water and then I look for somewhere around it to eat because usually it's nice to sit on a patio in the middle
Yep.
of summer in Wisconsin and go rip for a day or a couple hours to get there. So, but
Yeah. I like that.
yeah, so we're kicking, like I said, we're kicking off everything. Mama Tried weekend. If anybody's in town, definitely stop by. We're open obviously, but
Yep.
um, and then we kind of kick things off and get rolling here, get all these bikes out of storage, back on the roads, and then plan for homecoming. So
Yeah. Wow. Busy,
yeah,
busy, busy, man.
yeah, it is. It's a lot of fun. We get to do a lot of cool stuff. We get to represent Harley Davidson Milwaukee. It's a
Yep.
kind of a burden, but it's a good problem to have and a good
Oh yeah.
opportunity to have. So that's
Yep.
anybody that's ever coming through Milwaukee, they've got a good place here if they need anything.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a beautiful dealership. I've been there. Again, you were very accommodating to us. Give us the full tour.
Yeah,
It's a great space. You know what I mean? And you're in the hometown, man. You got to
it's
represent.
absolutely, yeah, and we're looking forward to rally too. That's Harley's kind of leaned on us the last couple of years, and we've taken the initiative to revert that and be as attributing and as a great of a partner as we can with Harley in town. So, and I'm actually the one this year getting to set up all the vendors. So, if
Hell yeah.
anybody's looking to come in and set up in Milwaukee this year, they can reach out, and we're definitely more than open. We got plenty of space. I think we got 3.5 acres of vendor space. So good
Nice.
good space. Should be putting our own good bands on stage as well. If Hank Williams Jr. and Chris Stapleton aren't your thing, probably will have some good entertainment for everybody. So
There we go. There we
and
go.
and FXR Friday, we did. I threw something together last minute, called it the FXR Affair. It's just like, let's see how many people we get. If it's three or four, cool. If it's whatever, how many other people we get, it'll
Yep.
just be awesome. Ended up having like 14 people with FXR show up, and
Nice.
five or six older guys with the cleanest FXR 2 and 3 that I've ever
Yep.
seen.
Yep.
Uh, an older guy whose son works at Harley had a twin cam swapped FXR, had FXRP that was super clean. My barber showed up with his bike, and we did a quick rip down to the museum, and we had to get back and continue the rally festivities, but it was just super cool and rad. And as soon as we got to the museum, hey, we should do that again next year. That was super cool. So plan on an FXR event on Friday of homecoming, and obviously I'll try and push that as hard as I can and get that out there for people if they're interested. Hell yeah, man! Appreciate that. Absolutely. Yes, sir. Let's do it. Look forward to it, man. Thanks, Steve. Yeah, you too, man. Thank you. You bet. Later.